What up, y'all? Happy full moon in Leo. Rawr. I'm pretty excited. I'm feeling the fiery determination and rebirth. I'm feeling that masculine force of dynamism coming out. Right before I started filming, even though the sun's going down and it's been a pretty rainy day here in Nashville, it's like the birds were chirping, like the spring songbirds. It was kind of a nice little like omen or sign, or, you know, just of like good times to come, and rebirth is on the horizon. So Leo is a fixed masculine fire sign. This is a sign of like bold self-confidence and self-realization. Leo is associated with the suit of wands, fire, passion, our spirit, our sense of self, right? So, you know, this year is about this rebirth. The moon's north nodes are in Aries, is in the north node, and the south node is in Libra. So this is really a year of being reborn and self-reinvention and awakening and self-discovery. And so really going forward, you know, as our new elevated version of self, you know, where we have learned from experience, and we have been able to overcome layers and levels of our ego that have gotten us past a certain point. Let's just put it that way. So we're in this new like cycle that's beginning, and we're still at the end of like the seasonal cycle of 2023. We're in the winter now. So, you know, when we align ourselves with the seasons right now, it's all about, you know, letting the land lie fallow, you know, not rushing forward into a new spring just yet, because there is still a little bit of purging of the old that needs to happen so that we can move forward like with a pure fresh start that's completely undefiled from, you know, past conditioning, or at least, you know, dramatically, you know, improved upon. So we've been talking about this in recent videos, but there could be something that is just below your level of awareness, because on a surface level, you're over it. Like, you've moved forward, you've gotten like, you feel like, okay, I've gotten a grasp on this and I can, you know, move forward now, and I don't have to keep rehashing. And it's not about rehashing, but it's like almost as if there is like a virus that's like on the hard drive of our subconscious that's still having like a buggy influence on our operating system. And so now is just the best time to utilize the renewal of our mindset in Aquarius. You know, we have a Pisces season to go through where we deep dive, but right now it's like we're kind of getting like our mindset right again. We're having this renewal of consciousness. Our ideas are coming back online. We're feeling expansive, and we're feeling like taking all the revelation from the experience that we've gone through and, you know, making it revolutionary for us within our reinvention. So Leo full moon is this willpower and self-determination to do the work that we don't feel like doing anymore, to, you know, reveal what has been in our subconscious that's been kind of driving the remainder of our patterns and our like default triggers. And so recently you may have felt heightened emotions, and they could have been heightened like emotions that trigger your more negative, shadowy emotions. And so those were being kind of put into the spotlight for us to examine. You know, it was an opportunity. Otherwise, it might have just stayed under the rug. It might have been, you know, the dust or mold that accumulates behind a piece of furniture that never gets moved. So things have been coming up to stir up that kind of like lingering, stored away, you know, kind of stuff that we're just not realizing. That way, it's not like a virus on our operating system that we're taking in and starting and building like a whole website on with like a viral, like faulty structure, right? Oh, wouldn't that be rough? you'd have to go back and redo so many things, or it would just be like off just like for the rest of the time, you know, just from then on. And so now it's like, okay, we want to rush forward into the spring of our life. But instead we need to sit with the rest of the death and decay and, you know, sift through the ash and figure out what are the last little components that are making the biggest difference in blocking us from fully moving into this up level. And, you know, if you've been watching these videos, these are likely connected to the things that we started to focus on, that we really started to hone in on during the Christmas, Hanukkah, solstice, holiday season through December. And now, ironically enough, you know, I'm paying even more attention this year to like the Hebrew calendar and the daily portions of the Torah that you read that go through each day of the year. There's like an assigned portion. And it's funny because it takes you through the cycle of spiritual and soul progression through each year, the cycles of reflection, the cycles of purging, the cycles of going deeper and getting more revelation, and then, you know, being able to hone in and in your focus, right? So it's interesting that we are now preparing for Passover, which is the season where we are finally released from our bondage and our slavery, and we leave Egypt. We leave the ego's hold on us that keeps us held back, our illusion of control. And so when we're like grasping for control, it's like we're getting in the way. And so like things about Leo to consider is that Leo desires to be respected. And so, you know, in a positive way, that might, you know, it encourages us to lead or lean into our higher ideals and being, you know, in the vibration of respect, giving and receiving. But it can also cause us, that can be the gap that allows our opponent to get in through our ego. You know, oh, they disrespected me. Oh, you know, I'm fiery, I'm obstinate, I'm fixed, I'm set in my ways, right? So every lunation, we have a chance to harness the powers of that particular sign. But in order to harness the powers of the sign, we have to overcome the shadow tendencies and the negative aspects that go with the sign as well. So yes, maybe being stubborn or too fixed, set in the ways, hard-headed or hot-headed, you know, loud and, you know, maybe very, very assertive, domineering, you know, because Leo is this pure, fired up, you know, awakening to self, masculine dynamism. So the excitement can go lean into domineering, you know, if we get too gung-ho, right? Leo is also like the shining star. It's the lion, it's the leader. So it's regal and it's like royal. And so it does, like Leo in its best aspects and its higher octaves, like commands, you know, positive attention and respect. And, you know, you can use that as a positive way to influence your environment, you know, and the more that we foster unity as opposed to separation in our environment, you know, the good king versus the tyrannical king, right? We foster unity, then we create miracles and manifestation. Our manifestation powers are increased, right? That's why there are covens formed of 10 and 12. That's where our minions are formed from at least 10, you know, to 12. There were 12 disciples. Like when groups gather in a unified conscious intention, it gives them power to create. And so especially if you're speaking in union things to life and you are, you know, so you can use this energy in a positive way like that. Now, you know, if you are using your energy and influence to create separation and division, then that can have an alternate effect on you and take away from your good fortune and take away from your prosperity. So bear that in mind. You know, we're overcoming our ego, but we're having a healthy ego where we know that we bring value and our voice counts and our needs matter, but we're not, you know, projecting outward on others. You know, we've learned how to turn inward and turn to the Creator as our source, and learn how to maintain these needs and boundaries and standards and, you know, non-negotiables as we need to in the world, right? We don't project it out. Having said that, so, you know, this is the season in which this is like we have our training wheels on as we are, you know, starting our first year of our new selves. It's like, okay, the universe is supporting us right now. Tests are coming, but they're super obvious, right? They're so like, it's almost like caricatures, like animated archetypes of your situation that highlight what's lingering, you know, for you to work on. And it's sticking with theme, right? So it's making it easy for us to see. So working on those things within us, it helps us like take things slow, because there's not tons going on yet right now, thank goodness. You know, I've just been joking around. We're having the great melt here in Nashville because everything was icy for a week, and we're not prepared for that. Like our like engineering and our like, you know, like whatever infrastructure here in the state does not provide for salting and like snow plows. So we don't have enough to go around. So everybody's just like stuck and sliding and whatnot. So everybody had a nice weekend to do whatever they did, but it was a really nice time to go inward and, you know, get introspective. But now it's like the great thaw is happening and everything's still really soggy and muddy and squishy. But, you know, I'm getting stir crazy. I'm ready to go out for a run, but it's been storming. So that's kind of like metaphorical for the feeling right now. It's like we want to rush through winter, but don't rush through winter. It provides its own value, right? This dark and fertile soil is able to breathe and replenish itself and be ready for the next growth season. But we don't want to start that growth season burnout. We want to, you know, gather our energies. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of mother-father healing going on right now, and a lot of reflection on growing our interdependence. And, you know, we all fall on somewhere on the spectrum of tendencies towards codependency, right? So we're becoming a lot more aware of those patterns and maybe past traumas that created certain mindsets or loops of behavior in us. So it's like things are coming up and little tests are happening, but the universe is making them easy to see so we can overcome them and practice embodying. If we can visualize and spend time reflecting on what does this version of ourself behave like, feel like, think like, what does this look like when I see the play-by-play of this higher version of myself, my higher self embodied in me, and they've achieved this life that I envision, I'm being called towards, that I think is possible for me. What is this person like in order to maintain and build that? What is their routine like? What is their habits and structures, right? What kind of choices do they make? What kind of things do they say no to, right? What kind of people do they have around them? And then reverse engineer, okay, where are you at now? Where are your boundaries? You know, what kinds of routines do you keep? Are you consistent, right? Do you have a good idea about what you need to be doing, but you're not consistent enough? You know, I've learned that even, you know, small incremental changes done consistently make huge differences. So over time, they really build up and add up. So I think that's maybe something to keep in mind and give a shot. Okay, so bearing in mind that we are preparing to go into the Passover season where we leave Egypt. So what parts of these things, these challenges that we've been working with over the last few weeks, these three main blocks, right? There's probably three spiritual challenges that have challenged you for a very long time, maybe thematic through your life. What are those three? Top three. And you're probably still wrestling with some aspects of them to this day. We will have them throughout, you know, our life. We deal with it in like layers, right? So it's like your soul's major for this lifetime, major and minors. Okay, so if you list off those three instinctually, remember the order they're in. And now, what are the three dreams in your life that you would like to see come to fruition, that you feel like you're so close to this next level, but there's something that's like maybe keeping you plateaued or keeping you blocked from like fully moving into that up level? Three dreams. What are those? Now, instinctually, what order are they in? Now, look at column 1. What is the spiritual issue that you have that you've been working on? And what is the number 1 dream? Those two things are connected. Even if they don't seem connected energetically and spiritually, it's likely that they're connected. At least for your purposes, draw this connection with them and start working on that block with the intention that it's unblocking that dream in like real time, okay? Same for column 2. What was the second thing? And the third thing. So keeping that in mind, we're honing in. Okay, we have our specific assignments to go in to Passover season with. We've got Lent. I love participating in every feast and fast. So, you know, I take these themes with me through these spiritual fasting seasons and feasting seasons through the year. So, you know, Jesus tempted in the desert for 40 days. You know, you're tempted with these issues, right? Tempted for it, you know, they're going to be aggravated, they're going to be triggered, right? You're going to be fasting something, you're going to give up something to help you, you know, as you overcome that pain, the pain of not having that thing that you want, you're also giving up the satisfaction that that personality trait gives you, a feeling of self-righteousness, a feeling of people's sympathy. If you're victimizing yourself, whatever it is, there's something that you think it's serving you in some way and it isn't, right? So, you know, you're using that sacrifice to break that hold that it has on you, right? And then at the end of Lent season, it's like Lenten season, it's like, what is that? That's Passover time, right? It's time for, you know, the death angel to pass over Egypt and the plagues to come over, you know, the Israelite, you know, are protected and then they are released in their exodus, right? And so during that time, it's like that these times of year, we go through, you know, challenges and introspection. You know, Pisces season takes us into deep dives, right? We're kind of getting like our head around it in Aquarius season so that the culmination of the years, we can really do the deep dive and take all the wisdom and spiritual transformation and discernment that we've gathered and really solidify that and embody it, right? In its highest form of like new consciousness, right? So that's the big grand finale of the year, Pisces season, but it doesn't come without that deep dive. So now we are preparing the grounds for that. All right, let go of control is on the top of the deck. We did just have Pluto move out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. Ta-da, the alien shirt. This is like my Aquarius season shirt. So yeah, so Pluto is this planet of transformation and change and death and rebirth. And so it's been in Capricorn for 20 years. And it's been rigid and like all this heavy structure and, you know, really changing how we think about things and our mindsets and where we are too rigid, right? Asking us to question all of that, like rethinking and having, you know, if we haven't had a good relationship with discipline and structure, right? It's been very difficult on us until we've learned to build that. And if we've been too rigid and too earthbound and too material, it's like we've been challenged to turn that, you know, rigidity and feeling of needing to control into self-reflection and personal growth and transformation and spirituality, right? Capricorn also, you know, this is associated with things that are super materialized and solidified. So it could be, you know, addictive tendencies, right? And things like that coming to a head. So now it's like this rigid discipline of Saturn and Capricorn is finally lifting. And now after having been in that like almost like a boot camp, right, of disciplined training, preparing and conditioning It's like now we're coming out of it and we're like, oh my God, it's so light, so much lighter. Like, whoa, like open your mind, mind expanding, Aquarius, like working together. All right, now that we've been through fucking hell and back, through the tribulations, we can see forward. Let's get together and create, you know, in a unified, like global consciousness, like changing the self. We literally need to be the change we want to see in the world, because it raises it incrementally the frequency. And as your consciousness elevates, it starts to, and on a low level, not even like perceptible, it starts to raise other people's awareness around you. So it's, you know, we're raising the vibrational temperature, so to speak, on the planet. So that is good. And so, you know, the more we think about that, it will motivate us even further in our work. The work that we do on the self is not just for the self alone. It's for a greater cause. It's for a greater sense of sharing the light with others, right? Because it brings the whole planet up with us. All right, so let's do this. Who are we? Ooh, in the context of now, it's time to party. So yeah, give yourself, you know, some time to just relax and celebrate before you move straight into the next phase. You know, be happy and serene and take some time to celebrate where you've been and how far you've come, right? Give yourself some time to relax and let your creativity come back, right? When you let go of control and you go play and you give yourself time to have work-life balance, you know, it's inspiring. So there's something to celebrate and something not to gloss over, right? There's something else that we were talking about this week about not rushing over something or glossing over it before it's had its due. And that's also about celebrating where, you know, our achievements and where we've come, you know, how far we've come. So it's time to party, kick up your heels. It's time to celebrate. Life is getting too serious. Lighten up, go play, have some fun, all work and no play, shake things up, live a little, don't be a Debbie Downer. So very Aquarius energy. It's like, hey, let's get experimental. Let's do some fun things. Let's change it up and reinvent. So what is crossing us now? Addiction. So now is the time to break hold of addictions, right? And not only addictions to substances and maybe lifestyles or behaviors, but also, you know, like emotional cycles can cause you to be chemically dependent within your body for drama and crisis, right? That's not like people just exaggerating or being dramatic. Like people can get addicted to crisis and drama. And if you have been in a long-term situation where you're addicted or where you've been under like stressful, you know, crisis-ridden situations for years on end, it can be almost difficult and strange and disorienting to be in a time of peace and prosperity, because it's almost like foreboding. You feel like you're looking over your shoulder and wondering like when you can really relax and when it's for real. So that could be addictive as well. Addiction, codependency, negative behavioral, thought or emotional patterns, coping mechanisms, habits, habitual role playing, family addictions, numbing the discomfort instead of asking what it is trying to tell you. Face your life. Okay, so numbing the discomfort instead of asking what it's trying to tell you is very, I think, potent and poignant for this moment, because I think it's asking us like, hey, don't rush forward into fun spring mood, spring break life, okay? Like go into the discomfort, see what's still lingering there and try to do the best you can to resolve what you can about that before you take it with you forward, you know? And it starts to affect every area of your life that you're rebuilding new, you know, cycles in. Face your life, heal the trauma at the root. What fulfillment will this give you? Yes, when your addiction tempts you, or when old patterns tempt you, what fulfillment do you think this is going to give you? And is it possible that that fulfillment you can find if you turn inward and go to the Creator for it? in some way, right? Before you reach outside of yourself. Okay, now, what is lingering in the subconscious that is affecting us? This is from the heart. So it's some sort of issue around maybe a heartbreak or a disappointment. This is from the heart. Core authentic desires, divine guidance, purpose, passion, influenced by a higher love. Okay, so first of all, I think that maybe the addiction is stemming from heartache, a low-level pain that we're not even fully aware of, because that message has been coming up too this week in different forms. But it's like something that we don't realize is spilling out everywhere, and it's just giving this like cloud over us, right? And so this message from the heart that's pushing us to go deeper in, like, for the healing, is because it's ready for renewal. It's ready to be rebirthed. The heart wants to be healed and opened again, but it's still feeling blocked because it's still feeling like it's got like this protective scab around it. It's not fully healed yet. So it's trying to give you like what you need to finally, you know, tend to it the way that it needs to fully heal, to set you free to move forward. And like when your heart is still making decisions or pushing you from a wounded place, from a place of disappointment and, you know, sorrow, then it's tainted, right? It's not giving you a pure message. It's a bridge, so it needs to be maintained, and you know, the debris and everything needs to be cleansed. So as we cleanse this, the more that we put some consciousness to it, the more that we cleanse the heart, and the heart is then better, like a better, you know, bridge to guide us through. It has more of, it's like the lens has been cleaned, and it has more clarity, and, you know, and it's not distorted, and it doesn't have layers of things projected on it. Okay, so this is from the heart. Now, in a positive heart-driven way, the heart is leading you in a positive way. Core authentic desires are coming through in this Leo. It's like self-realization. It's almost like the self has been born. We've been babies, and now as babies, we're becoming these toddlers, and we're having like a sense of self and will. You know, when a toddler's in those twos and they're suddenly like, you know, determined, and they have their own will now, and they're gonna, you know, have it their way, and they're gonna demand for themselves, right? And they're so unencumbered. They have so much like audacity. So core authentic desires, divine guidance, purpose, passion, influenced by a higher love, may seem illogical. The heart is ahead of the brain, right? The heart is an information processor, and the heart is an intuitive source and in our body. And they've done scientific studies where the subjects were like shown the screen, and they press the button when they see something or when they anticipate it or whatever, and the heart was monitored, and the heart responded before the mind did to the stimulus, unusually enough. So the heart is ahead of the brain. Insight that holds truth, big truth, because, hold on, be aware that if pain, be aware that if pain or the individual is asleep, the heart can be misinterpreted. Okay, so be aware that if the heart is in pain or if the individual is asleep, the heart can be misinterpreted. Okay, sorry, that's sometimes my writing is like squeezed into the bottom of the card. So just be aware that if the heart is in pain or if the individual is asleep, they're not awakened, then the heart can be very misleading. It can be misinterpreted, right? And this is just what we were talking about. It's like when we're putting healing with awareness and discernment and wisdom, it's like then we can interpret the heart a bit better. Okay, so the influence from the past that is still kind of hovering over us now, but it's beginning to clear up. This situation has no more to give and there's nothing left for you here. So really releasing anything from the past that is like not demanding itself be in your future and go with you. And it's just like oh, well, you know, if it's not a hell yes, then it's leave it. We can't take it with us. You know, it's like one of those things like bring only what you can carry. Like something is holding on that's causing a lot of the feelings and influences that are holding us into this addictive pattern and cycle. And this situation has just no more to give in it. And so we don't need to stay here. We don't need to stay in that old cycle anymore. We need to let it be finished. Let the grief move through and be fully realized and processed, right? Don't resist, right? Let it finally be purged. It's all about digesting the feelings. We don't repress, we don't resist, we don't deny. We digest them. We do something with them. We exercise them. So, and then we do that with like a self-based exercising of them. So time to move on. The situation has no more to give. There's nothing left for you here. You will regret wasting any more time here. There is nothing more to be shared, given, or received for the highest good. It is time to let go. The situation does not offer you true value that is authentic to you. So the situation that's lingering, the influence is it's holding you back. And so is it worth it to stay stuck going through another cycle of disappointment? Or are you ready to fully realize this lesson, accept it, fully embody it, fully have the transformation in your mindset and move forward? Because then your heart will not be defiled by this ego attachment, and your heart is going to interpret things the way it wants to appease that ego cord that's still attached, right? But we've got to cut those cords now to move forward. So what's crowning us now is vibrational dissonance. So when we stay attached to things that aren't in authentic alignment with us, then that puts us in dissonance with the path that is authentically aligned with us, right? We're causing ourselves, it's like, think about being on, you know, something like a wheel going at one speed, and you try to reach over and grab a wheel going at a very much slower speed. It's like you're gonna get mangled in that, you know, difference. You know, it's not gonna mesh. And so it's the same with, we need to align ourselves, heart, mind, soul, body, and spirit. Meaning, what is it that you want? What is it that you desire? What is it that you see for yourself and envision with yourself? Well, is your mindset lining up with that? Are you aware enough of the path and the plan that you need to follow and execute with like ruthless like logic and discernment, but that something you have passion in and for? It's just that it's a greater than, you know, these little small things that we put our obsession over in the vessel. It's not the vessel, it's the bigger picture. So what's your love vision for your life? What's your life purpose vision look like? Is it your career, or is it something, you know, that you do that's beyond a career, right? What is the home that you want to build for yourself look like? You know, what do you want to do with your financial goals? Like really getting this envisioned and moving forward. But your actions and your feelings have to line up. Is your heart in this, right? If you're not gung-ho and fired up about it, then there's not going to be a lot of momentum, right? Your heart's somewhere else, or your heart is torn about something, or if it's broken, or, you know, you're heartsick about something, then that's going to put you in dissonance, right? And then your body and strength, it's like, are your actions aligning with these values, this plan that you have, that you're wanting to set yourself on this purpose and path and direction? It's like, are you putting your money where your mouth is and doing the things and standing by yourself and following up and keeping promises? Because something is out of whack. Not having affinity with creating separation, turbulence. You are not in vibrational alignment with the subject in question. Disharmony. Vibrational dissonance is creating blocks. Where is this coming from? Emotions, mental stress, thoughts, energy levels. Do you have hidden conflicting desire or lack of desire? Something's repelling. Okay, what is coming up right around the corner that we don't see coming? So, oh, okay, here we go. We have this cluster here. Conflicting desire, pay attention to red flags, energy detox. Okay, so an inner conflicting desire is a subconscious motivation that conflicts with your conscious goals. You may want to up-level in your career, in your conscious mind, but subconsciously you may be afraid of taking on more responsibility. It may mean more hours. It may mean a different type of stress. You may not want to have people, you know, putting the pressure of depending on you for things like that. And so there may be like this inner conflicting desire in your subconscious that you're not fully aware of, that's creating defense mechanisms and ways to sabotage you from moving fully into that career up level. Does that make sense? If you want to be known for something offbeat and you are afraid of how it's going to look in your community, right? For me as a tarot reader in the South, like I run, you know, the risk of people, you know, being very outwardly, you know, open about their religious points of view about what I'm doing sometimes. And, you know, that's just like where I have to just not care what others think. But it is a thing that holds people back because they worry about what they'll look like in the eyes of others. What will people say? Are people gonna abandon me? Or am I gonna be shunned from society, right? You have these like inner conflicting desires where it's like, oh, if I'm going to be abandoned for being my true self, then that is a risk to my like survival, right? In your subconscious. So you're sabotaging yourself. You're playing it small. You're not fully putting your effort in to expanding. So those are some examples. So inner conflicting desire. Say you want commitment and you want a relationship that evolves and progresses, that you grow with someone and you grow a life together, but you still have, you know, lingering commitment fears and phobias that you're not fully aware of, or you believe that you have, that if you have a partner that you don't have any more like alone time, or you know, you don't get to be your full autonomous self anymore, you know, something like that. So then you're like, oh, I don't want to let someone in because I like the way I live, right? So think about those things. Do you have an inner conflicting desire? A conflicting desire is causing the block. A fear or defense mechanism is hiding in the subconscious and causing a block here. So there are going to be red flags coming up. It will be beneficial to detox yourself and your energy of stressors and negative influences. That way you know you have a clean idea of how you resonate on your own without outer influence. That way you can practice better discernment when people are showing you, or situations are showing you red flags and you're like, oh, I don't know about this. It's like you can read those more clearly because you're already have like mastered over your own paranoia and anxiety, right? So you have a better idea. Those things aren't provoked in you so much anymore. But pay attention to the red flags. So the writing is on the wall, and it's so funny because time to move on, something's holding us back. Pay attention to the red flags that have been presented. The writing is on the wall. Turn back now. This is the sign. Don't linger. Don't linger. Or don't ignore this. You will regret it. Don't say we didn't warn you. Sometimes the evolved thing is to not put yourself in situations with red flags. Your intuition is trying to protect you. Ignoring red flags damages the trust you are building with yourself. I'll say that again, it's very, very important. Ignoring red flags damages the trust that you build with yourself. When I talk about trust and building trust again, it's an inside job, because you have to build trust with yourself, meaning you have to maintain your boundaries and standards. You have to follow up with yourself. You have to keep your own rules to yourself, and you have to pay attention to these red flags, or else you're not being trustworthy to yourself. You're leaving the gate open. Ignoring red flags is a sign of low self-worth. Okay, so there's an inner conflicting desire, maybe causing you to ignore red flags and entertain, you know, like a great example of this would be, I'm using myself an example, or it's not necessarily true. But okay, say I want a committed relationship, right? But I am feeling unworthy of a committed relationship, or I have some inner conflicting fear of being in a committed relationship, and I have commitment issues. So I might ignore red flags to maintain relationships with people who are unavailable in order to avoid getting too close to someone who could fill in the blank, right? Dominate all my time and then abandon me, or cause me to give up my security and then, you know, pay for it down the ladder. Whatever the reason it would be, the subconscious, that is how it kind of looks like when the pattern plays out. It's like an inner conflicting desire triggers a pattern, all right? Oh, the pattern, my outer desire is a serious relationship. The inner conflicting desire is causing me to ignore red flags, to stay with people who are unavailable, and that protects me from what the inner conflicting desire believes is the threat of having the thing that I want. And then energy detox, ground yourself in nature, do some rigorous exercising, get a good sweat in. I like the fire, like get your fire burning again. There's something very cleansing about burning energy. It's like you're literally burning away your old self, your old cells, the old you. And you can keep that in mind as a moving meditation, but it really cleanses your energy. You know, maybe do some dandelion tea, detox the liver, take a salt bath with Dr. Teal's ginger and clay salts. Put a whole bunch of that in the tub. Oh my gosh, like I sweat so hard after those hot baths with that. Okay, so ground yourself in nature, rigorous exercise, get a good sweat on, meditate, chill, quiet the mind and body, smudge your environment, take a salt bath, journal, spend some time alone to recharge, carry black stones and smoky quartz. Black tourmaline is great. Shungite is quite cleansing, but it is very strong. Like, I mean, you might like sell your house kind of strong. So it's like, it is not for the faint of heart. You will leave your husband. Okay, so the perspective that we have that is influencing us at this moment is listen to your intuition. Now, many times we have to consider this position as being sort of something that is kind of negatively influencing us or holding us back. And so when it's a positive card, it kind of indicates that we might be having a hard time accepting the positivity of the situation. So we may not be listening to our intuition. We may not be giving our intuition enough credit. We may be like, you know, dismissing it, but we're also dismissing the fact that our intuition is telling us, hey, there's no more here. Like, move on. The red flags have spoken. Like, at this point, it's your, you know, like broken heart that is driving the show here. And you need to heal that so it's no longer influencing your decisions. And we need to get emotionally sober and grounded so that we're sticking to the plan and not getting off course. Okay, so what's the outer influence affecting us right now? So we need to be listening to our intuition, and then the more we detox our energy and spend some time in meditation and, you know, cleansing all of that, then our intuition is going to be a lot stronger. So outer influence, the law of attraction has been activated. Woo! Very exciting. So, right, the more that we listen to our intuition, the more that we overcome these old patterns, and the more that we face our fears and say no to what is not any longer within our worth. It's like, no, this is less than I'm worth. And I'm going to say, no, I'm not settling for less than I'm worth. I'm not selling myself short. I'm not giving my energy away to things that drain me or that are negative or that are a dead end. I am cutting myself free and I'm moving forward. And because of that, we've activated the law of attraction. And so our manifestations are going to start showing signs of coming in, and the small ones will come first. And they're just showing us that, like, hey, the big ones are on the way, but we cannot settle. We'll have tests, we'll have times of silence, and we'll be like, what's going on? Is anything coming? And I believe that we're so close and little things are starting to happen. So just be aware, though, that the more magnetic you are, you can manifest, you know, the things that are, like, you can manifest your fears too, and they can become self-fulfilling prophecies. But yeah, we're on the up and ups, it looks like. I mean, we've done a lot to kind of steer ourselves in a good direction. So you're in vibrational resonance. You have passed a test. You are up leveling. You truly feel worthy of your desire. You are clear about what you want. You are certain. You are certain that you already have that which you have desired. You have created a vessel. Now, it's funny, in my daily Zohar videos that I watch through the Kabbalah Center, I have a membership through them, and one of the site is like so full of like a lifetime of content that goes so deep into every subject, and there's more than you could ever watch. But one of the things that I do is, like, there's a daily Zohar video, and it's like 8 minutes long, usually tops. And it's part of my morning routine because it gives you the portion that we were talking about earlier, the daily portion of the Torah that you're reading. So the Zohar is the commentary about the metaphysical, like, spiritual interpretation of the Old Testament, like what's going on the deepest level. And so it was talking about this week, it's all about accessing the realm of miracles. And it's this upper level called Atika, I just forgot the other word, but it's this upper realms, right? It's the realm of tapping into instant miracles. And the key to being able to do that and really pull it off is that you have to visualize it in your mind and see it already happening. Believe it already before you see it fully. And have that certainty in the Creator and that gratitude and the feeling of excitement that it's already a done deal. And then you have to take action, take an outer action based on the belief that it's already done. Like, you have to take action, take a leap of faith, right? For instance, when Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade steps out into the chasm that's like the bottomless pit off the ledge, and then the invisible beam catches him. But he has to fully commit to that step before he finds it, because, you know, it's lower down. Okay, so the law of attraction has been activated. We have, you know, somehow tapped in, believed, and called it in and built the vessel. So now our hopes and fears, balancing spending and saving, and a lucrative partnership. So don't let your spending and saving become stagnant. Balance them, right? Don't have access in that area and don't have too much rigidity. Now's a good time to find the Goldilocks zone between miserly penny pinching and lavish spending. Be practical, but not too strict. If an unexpected opportunity or expense comes up, meet it with a sense of abundance. Now, there's another balanced spending and savings card in this deck, and I thought maybe about confusing them, but I decided to keep them separate because it talks about having expenses coming up that you're not planning for, something that you need to save for, and so it's about the need to save money. But this one is more about keeping a sense of abundance and not being too fearful or too controlling around your money. You know, like, maybe you want to treat yourself to a little bit of a celebration to celebrate some goals that you've met, right? Doing small things like that with a sense of abundance, or say you have an unexpected bill come up that you weren't expecting, just being able to pay it and be like, okay, you know what? It's not the end of the world. I'll be fine. This is not going to be the thing that does me in. It won't, you know, have that sense of abundance, you know, and that ease. Even just little steps like that can help you build that new consciousness around everything. And a lucrative partnership, a new job, a promising partnership, combining elements to yield great success. So yes, I believe that there are elements of our goals and our wishes beginning to come true. You know, maybe you have opportunities presenting that could, you know, be the beginning of a good, you know, lucrative partnership, or some way that you're going to expand your skills or your business, or, you know, kind of maybe your new direction or reinvention. There's going to be some promising opportunities come up, and that's going to give you some hope and some confidence about this new direction that you're headed in. Okay, and so yeah, so don't let your fears around money and, you know, money issues and money vibrational issues, even like subconscious stuff, hold you back from moving forward and getting your dreams and attaining your goals, because it's like they're here, they're going to come true. But you may have like self-worth issues that you're like, oh, I don't know what to charge, or, you know, I don't know how to ask my worth, or, you know, what have you. It's like you'll find a balance of this, but don't let money, fears, or insecurities hold you back. Just assume that it can be very lucrative. Go in under that assumption with that confidence. And then the likely outcome, be patient. Things are going to come to life gradually, step by step. We're building on solid, sound infrastructures. What happens when you see a house or a building go up too fast? You're like, not going to buy that place. It is going to crumble like a wet paper bag. Not going to stay in that hotel. It's going to be, you know, at risk of collapse, right? That happened like a few years ago in New Orleans. Like one of the hotels like collapsed in on itself because it didn't have the proper bones that it needed to hold the building up. They didn't use the proper materials, or it wasn't like they didn't have enough columns like per, you know, area or whatever it was, but it caved in, and it was because of structural you know, faultiness. So be patient, build sound routines and infrastructures, right? Build, you know, a good base for yourself, right? Build a good, healthy clientele. Don't rush to fill up your roster, right? You want good clients who are good people to work for that won't burn you out and exhaust you, right? I believe me, coming from an industry, TV and film and video production, I learned after a certain point that I had to be choosy about the jobs that I would take, regardless of the money that I needed, because I needed to pace myself, right, to enjoy my career. These are the days of my life. This is the environment that I'm putting myself in, right? So it's like, choose wisely and like red flags, right? Oh my gosh, with clients, I learned to read those red flags quickly, because it was a very obvious cost. What it costed me to go through dramatic client relationships. Oh, if we could apply that kind of like wisdom to all the other kinds of relationships in our life, right? But paying attention to those red flags and being patient, right? If a client's showing you a bunch of red flags, like, don't pursue that client, right? Be patient. Other better clients will come. So be patient. Impatience, obsessing, nagging, resistance, pushing, forcing, repelling. What is not ready is not ready. Unripened fruit will not taste good no matter how hungry you are. Self-control, restriction. Do not become reactive. Certainty in divine timing. Trust. So right now, it's like nothing should be rushed. We're in the season that we're in for a reason. So be here now, make the most of this moment, and don't rush it. Just really ruminate in it all you can. Okay, before we do let's do our 4 cards to clarify and tie this all together. Okay, so we've got Queen of Cups here, to start, right, we're getting into our intuition, we're self-nurturing, we're healing the self, right? The shadow side of the Queen of Cups is that she can just overgive of herself to everyone until she's just spent. And then she's just like fallen apart and bitter and wanting to ignore life's, you know, responsibilities and requirements, and she becomes bent out of shape. And so instead, the Queen of Cups is self-nurturing. She's listening to her intuition, and she's taking time to go inward and recharge before she puts herself out there to others. That way, when she's putting herself out there to others, she's fully available, and she's that open vessel of compassion and understanding and patience, right? Be that patient vessel of receiving from the universe. Receive the intuitive inspiration to take action when the divine timing is aligned. Ace of Swords. This is a new cycle. It's coming on the heels of a new mindset, a new kind of awakening, a shift in thinking, a shift in perspective. So a new cycle with our thinking and mindset. So it's no wonder that this is coming when we're in Aquarius season and Pluto is moving into Aquarius, right? It's changing the way that we're thinking. It's evolving our vision, and everything's expanding. So we're off to a good start. Clarity, focus, right? We're seeing all the things that have been holding us back, and we're like, no, I am determined to best this and to persevere and, you know, move forward and not be held back any longer. No longer am I going to be spending my time feeling left out in the cold. I know that the Creator is right inside of this warm, on the other side of this warm stained glass in that chapel, in that temple, the inner temple within. So these people can walk right into that church. The door is unlocked, right? We can go into the temple and connect with Source and the Creator anytime. And the only thing that is keeping us left out in the cold is a spiritual poverty. It's a mindset, right? So we're getting rid of that scarcity mindset, and we're having so much clarity to move beyond that and transcend that. And because of that, it's like Page of Pentacles here. It's like we're learning, you know, this whole new way of approaching life, right? We're going deeper into our journey, and we're an enthusiastic student, right? But we're also not holding ourselves back in the learning mode forever, right? We're moving forward, and we're putting our knowledge into action, right? Learning from the past and learning to trust Source for everything. And really that's going to help us step into this emotional groundedness and the ability to have this clarity when we connect with our intuition, right? That's going to get us out of these exposed, these feelings of being left out in the cold and exposed and feeling uncertain. It's like we're going to be certain because we're building this strength through our connection with Source. All right, let's get a Moonology card for this moon cycle. It's the culmination of whatever was going on during the Leo new moon 6 months ago. At the end of the summer, I guess it would be August time. And we're sort of at the end of the cycle of the year. And it's the first full moon of this year. So it's like, it kind of reminds me of the World cards, like a culmination. That's the end that leads to a grand new beginning. So what is the moon's energy for the next, what do we need to focus on for the waning cycle? What are we letting go? How are we letting go? Ooh, okay, balsamic moon, a time for healing. So just reinforcing the message of the reading so far. This is going to be a time best served through healing, you know, quiet time, reflection. Let's get one Angel Wisdom Tarot card. Let's go with that. Ooh, High Priestess. I love it. Meditate and turn inward to discover your soul's true desire. This is not the time for action. Develop your intuitive gifts and trust the wisdom you receive. You can't make this shit up. All right, a time for healing. High Priestess. Tuning inward to that divine feminine energy. All right, what do we need to know for our manifestations then for the waning cycle? As the moon is waning and we're letting go and we're energy detoxing, empowerment. You're more powerful than you realize. It's safe for you to be powerful. So Leo, right? It's like, I am bold. I am Leo. I'm in the spotlight. I don't think I would finish talking about that. Like, Leo are so great and charismatic and dynamic in the spotlight. You know, they really own their power and they're proud and they're, you know, they have like, usually have some very like dramatic, dynamic hair, and because it's that mane, that lion's mane. They have an aura about them, right? And they're like vibrant and social and they attract a lot of attention, right? So it's about like owning that power within and harnessing it with, at the same time, humility, you know, and humbleness as well. But you're more powerful than you realize, and it's safe for you to be power. So use that power for good, right? You don't have to be, you know, controlling or domineering, right? It can be a gentle strength. All right, what else do we need to know for our manifestations? Worthiness. So we are powerful and capable of having what we want and making our dreams come true, right? We are worthy of this, so don't second guess yourself as you are, you know, putting your package together or making your pitch. You know, like I know so many creatives that are like photographers and artists and you know, they make music or they're entertainers and what have you. And so it's like, you know, it's up to you to sort of run your business, and it greatly depends on your confidence in yourself, and that is being influenced by your self-worth. So it's like, oh, can you imagine like people who aren't coaching, you know, themselves along in this area at all, and they're just like, oh, like just relying on, you know, whatever, you know. So it's like no wonder the artists are so tortured and the industry can get so perverse because it's preying on people that don't feel fully worthy, but they're desperate to make their dreams come true, right? So it's like we're doing it from a sense of like, okay, we're empowered, you know, we are worthy. We can, you know, with a straight face present this package, even if it's like this new career for you. It's like, okay, you know, you can, you know, start where you are and grow, right? But you can, you know, feel confident every time, every step forward you make, right? You know that you deserve to receive good in all ways. Things that you're wanting to manifest that aren't career related, right? You're worthy, you deserve, right? The beautiful home and surroundings you want to create for yourself. It's like, you're worthy of having that vision. So make the effort to do those little things around the house that you've been wanting to do. You know, last week I had an opportunity come up to frame a bunch of pictures because I was given a bunch of picture frames. But it wasn't necessarily on my to-do list, and so it kind of took a lot of my, you know, 2 days off, but it was great, you know? It's like, I was worthy. It was a cause that I felt worthy of, you know, fine-tuning this vision of my place. And ever since then, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've felt probably 80% more abundant, at least, if not more. Divine magic, dee-dee-dee. Extra magical energy surrounds your situation right now. Expect miracles. So miracles are in the air, you know, and it's due to all this inner work that we're doing. It's opening up the flow of creators' life force, creators' light that's running through us like a vessel. The more we attune our energy to have affinity with the light, the more we're in vibrational resonance with cosmic flow, with divine favor, with blessing, with being in the miracle zone, right? So remember what we were talking about earlier, the accessing the Atika realm. Atika, I can't remember the two words together, but it's the realm of miracles. Part of it is just expecting it, knowing it, understanding that it's already a given. That what your soul is desiring is already a done deal. It's already in your spiritual bank account, and it will materialize the moment that it is like ripe for the picking. The moment that opportunity meets preparedness, the universe has that ready and set aside for you. So believe it, believe it's already done, visualize it in your mind, and believe it in your heart, feel it, know it. And that's how you channel those miracles, those instant miracles. And watch your thoughts. It's important to only think about what you desire, not what you fear. So again, as you're accessing that realm of the miracles, you have to visualize, it starts with the seed level is in the conscious, right? From thought comes our words. So thought is the first place where the energy comes in and starts to crystallize, starts to condense. That's where the consciousness starts. That's the seed level of every manifestation. The light comes down through the creator and starts its journey through the tree of life of our soul. The consciousness is the first place that the light is filtered through. And everything is based on that consciousness. Think of a spring that feeds a stream, right? The entire stream is sourced from the spring. So if something contaminates the spring, then the whole stream is contaminated with the contaminant, right? So think about that. Watch your thoughts. It's important to only think about what you desire, not what you fear. Okay. Romance. What do we need to do or know or focus on for our love life for this waning cycle? What are we letting go of so we can move forward into a new cycle? Forgiving and learning. Like we didn't see that coming. Healing. High Priestess. As you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moment. It's like, what do we need to let go of in order to experience more love in our present moment? Let go of the past. Release the past, release the heartache and the sorrows and the disappointments, you know, and now the only thing that's going with you as far as your love life into the future is what is demanding to go with you, right? It's putting itself in your sphere. It's aligning with your vision and your love vision for yourself. And, you know, you can forgive the past because what you're starting with now are new situations. And so we need to let new cycles begin. So now it's like, okay, if you're with new people, you don't want to carry around those same assumptions like, oh, everybody's this way and all men are this and all women are that. And we want to let go of all that, right? If you are in an existing relationship and you want a new cycle, then you've got to let all the past nagging and all the bickering that's built up over time, you just got to let that go, right? And have a fresh new relationship, right? But yeah, forgiving and learning, letting the past go, releasing it so you can be unencumbered going forward. All right, so next is keep an open mind. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectation. So yeah, I mean, things might be a surprise to you. Your soulmate might be younger than you expect, might be a little older. You might be thinking that one type of person is for you, or they probably have like this sort of profession, or maybe you think like, oh, I could never date like someone like a doctor. They just seem too dry, you know, like maybe that's what you think. But just keep an open mind, right? That the person that actually ends up being your soulmate might be different than what you think. So, you know, be open-minded. Ooh, honeymoon. Enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. So the next holiday that's coming up is Valentine's Day, I believe. I mean, unless it's like one of those weird bank holidays. Well, maybe like a President's Day or Martin Luther King holiday or something might come up. But definitely Valentine's is on the horizon. So there might be, you know, something fun developing around that time that we might have to look forward to over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, keep an open mind, like keep an open energy as well. Like if you're single and as you're out and about, like keep an open presence so that you're approachable, and just so that you notice in case there's like a hottie patati, like, you know, picking out bread next to you. You can be like, oh, have you had this focaccia over here? What do you think? Like, do you know if they have any challah loaves? That's a good one, right? Very niche. Do you know if the store has challah bread? Challah is the bread that you eat when you do the Eucharist for Shabbat. So that can help you narrow down if someone's Jewish. Very soon. So clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. And now it's like, yeah, get your vision, your love vision crystallized, right? Be decisive. What do you want? Do you want to move forward, get over the past, and do it? Like if you want, you know, if you know what you want for yourself, then don't settle for less, right? If you Whatever it is, get clear, be decisive. That's why you have to get rid of back burner situations, right? They're not giving you clarity to move forward. It's tainting your energy. It's causing dissonance and static and clutter, right? So we need to purge that to get clarity to move forward, right? So there's nothing like we need to clear the gates, right? The plane's trying to land, but like there's too many planes, there's not a gate open. All right, so clearly deciding what we want, moving on from the past, deciding within ourselves, like we're not, you know, falling prey to the same old cycles, like maybe we rush into things too quickly, taking our time, setting ourselves up for a different experience this time. Oh my gosh, Father, here we go, Father healing. This will help us with our commitment issues, whether it be to, you know, our career path or you know, different goals that we have, or even literally committing to a romantic relationship. If we have father wounds, it can kind of give us shiny object syndrome and make this thing that's in us, it's non-committal, right? Because we're unavailable because we've had something that was unavailable. And so we're continuing to cycle through going after things that are unavailable or making ourselves unavailable to the thing that we want available to us. So my true father is God in heaven, who shines healing light upon me, my birth father and our relationship. So my true father is God in heaven, who shines healing light upon me and my birth father and our relationship. So praying for that father healing and integrity. I trust my ability to know what is true for me and then acting upon that. So that's staying in that alignment, right? All right. And the more that we heal those father wounds, the more, you know, you can trust your inner authentic voice to come through because you're not stifling yourself. And then let me grab, there's one card. That I'd left out of the Jesus deck. Okay, and then one last word from Jesus. Jesus the Christ, what does he have to say? Ooh, take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. I like that little imagery. Take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Meaning, don't worry about tomorrow. Only worry about today. You know, it's funny. Today's Zohar lesson was about only taking manna for the day and trusting that the Creator gives us bread every day. That every day we begin our day by asking for the bread, by making that connection. That's why Jesus, when they asked, how should we pray, Jesus gave us the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. You know, like thy will, like your consciousness, can you help me embody this in myself as it is in that perfected state in the upper realms, right? Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Remember that connection between separation. When we are in separation, we're causing separation instead of unity. It takes our bread away. It takes our abundance away. When we have unity, it gives us more abundance, right? Interesting that those are connected. So take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Don't worry about tomorrow. Be in the present. Don't obsess about the future. The future that you are building happens in the now. If you are obsessing in the present and anxiety, you are not building your future. You're building chaos because you're leaving empty vessels unattended to. Be present in the now, be powerful in the now, and utilize this time to take divinely inspired action. And if the divinely inspired action is to go inward and reflect and not have yourself running around and distracted doing errands and busy work that day, then follow that instruction because there's something valuable in that quiet day that feels unproductive, but it's actually the most productive. So tune in, follow your guidance, right? That guidance for the day might be go here, run this errand, go to that store. You might be running into someone that you don't expect to see. So follow those little pings and hunches. You never know. But don't worry about tomorrow to a certain degree. You know, We have appointments and things to keep, but don't anxiously project on the future, because Creator is taking care of that, and we are certain in the Creator. So we are powerfully showing up in any given moment the best we can. We're doing our due diligence. We're, taking all the actions that we need to do, spiritual, physical, and otherwise. But at the end of the day, we've got to leave it in the hands of the Creator. The chips will fall where they may. All right, you guys, happy full moon in Leo. I will see y'all on the next episode. Ciao.